sure that I am live and make sure that I can be heard here. Let me refresh this. Excellent. I think that we are live. Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. We're going to talk about how to build a multi-six-figure public health consulting business tonight. I'm really inexperienced when it comes to YouTube live stream. So let me just make sure that I am live and that you can see and you can hear me. As a matter of fact, I have another screen here. I think I'll do it on my screen as opposed to doing it on my phone. Just to make sure that you can, again, hear me. I'm not going to be able to talk too loud tonight for the simple fact that I am still recovering from COVID and I don't have much of a voice. And I have presented quite a bit today and talked quite a bit today. So bear with me if you can, please, for that. All right. One more. Hold on just a second. I just want to make sure that my sound is there. Just a second. Excellent. I hear myself back on my cell phone. Wonderful. Hello again and good evening. I don't know what I was thinking scheduling this at 8 a.m. Central when my brain normally shuts down, but I think this is a good time where most people have kind of settled into their routine at home and have some time to tune in. So if you're joining, say hello. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay as well. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's session. So welcome again, my unconventional agents of change. My name is Quisha Umemba. I am the public healthpreneur. I teach helping professionals how to monetize their skill set, package their genius, leverage their experience and expertise to start, grow, and scale profitable public health consulting businesses using a lot of what I'm going to be sharing with you all over the next 6 training sessions, and certainly leading up into my webinar on February the 7th, Possibilities in Public Health Consulting. So if you are here, let me know who you are. Put your name and information in the chat. Say hi. And I really love when I can get feedback and people have questions to ask or comments that really fuels me as a teacher, trainer, instructor, facilitator. So feel free to not even hold anything back and put all of your questions and comments in chat that you may have. So I have some notes I want to pull up and the screen behind me so that I can stay on task for what we're going to be talking about tonight. But I thought that I would start this conversation really talking about the foundation, really for any kind of consulting, but certainly for public health consulting, and that is your perspective. And if you have not guessed by now, when I talk about perspective, I am talking about your mindset. Okay, so I decided to use another word. It essentially means the same thing. As I have been working with public health consultants and working in this space and talking to my professional colleagues, I've noticed there's probably about 6 areas that I needed the most help in as I was starting my business, and that others need the most help in as well. And that's what we're going to talk about over these next 6 sessions. So we are talking about perspective tonight, or the mindset, right, that you need to develop a multi-six-figure public health consulting business. On Friday night, so 2 nights from tonight, we're going to be talking about your positioning. And so that's how you will market your expertise. We're also going to be talking about, I'm looking here at my notes, pricing. So next week, you can join me on Wednesday evening, same time, same place, same channel. We're talking about pricing, right? I always talk about monetizing your skill set, but what does that look like? How do you do that? Where do you start? Well, I've got some great tips and strategies for you to do that as well. Then we're going to talk about packaging. That is your branding. That is building your brand equity. That is things like slogan and tagline and fonts and colors and all of those different things that really tie into when you're marketing your expertise, building your credibility, your thought leadership. What do you want people to think about or identify with when they hear your name or they hear your business's name? The 5th session or training session is going to be on processes, minimizing and optimizing your processes. What does that look like? That looks like automating things that need to be automated. That looks like eliminating things out of your day that you don't need to be doing, or delegating those things that can be delegated. And then the 6th and final session is going to be on pitching. That's where a lot of people struggle. That's where I struggled, was pitching my services, writing those proposals, not just necessarily RFPs, but writing those business proposals to secure those contracts that really keep your business afloat, right? That's how you build the multi-six-figure business in the first place. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be talking about over the next 6 weeks. And again, if you have any questions about what we're going to get into tonight, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. So thank you. I see a few people are on. Thanks so much for joining with me tonight. All right, so let's kind of get into this, and let me look at my notes again here. If you're watching this, if you are watching this, chances are you're curious, right? I got a lot of people that are just kind of curious, wanting to get their feet wet, still not really sure about what a public health consultant is or what a public health consultant does. I'm not going to get into that tonight. I've got a lot of great resources in our Facebook group, PublicHealthPreneurs, Make Impact and Income. And if you go to my website, QuishaUmemba.com, there's a lot of resources there as well. As a matter of fact, I recommend that you download the Public Health Consultant Starter Kit. It's about 45 pages long. It's great information and resources, and it's absolutely free. And it will give you the foundation and more information that you need to know about public health consulting. But if you're here, you're curious, you are probably sick and tired of your job, right? I say you're tired of working on the plantation. You've been considering going out on your own, or maybe you don't want to strike out on your own completely or entirely. Maybe you want a side hustle, and nothing is wrong with it. I side hustle. So I've been in business now for 4 years, and I side hustled for the first 2.5 years of my business, right? I worked myself out of a job basically and into entrepreneurship. And so a lot of people that I've been talking about too, they just don't know what possibilities exist. They just don't know how to get started. There's so many questions about if I can do this at all. And that really ties us back into this conversation of, do you have the right perspective to do this anyway? All right. So quickly, again, we're talking about the perspective that you need to build a multi-six-figure consulting business. Now, that's a catchy title. Let me just keep it real with you. This is the perspective that you need regardless of what business you're trying to start, regardless of any kind of business endeavor. There's a certain type of skill, of mindset that you need to be successful. First, I want to lay the foundation for public health consulting. I want to spend about 5 minutes talking about this. Excuse me, I told you my voice is still much very weak. All right. So I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there is a revolution of sorts. I remember in a training, I said the revolution is here, and this time it will be televised. There is a revolution of sorts. If you have not noticed that more and more businesses are starting to hire contractors, subcontractors, and consultants. In fact, I have seen such a trend since COVID, since 2020, where I'm seeing people can get a job more easily as a consultant, external consultant, than they can by being hired full time. And there's a number of reasons why. As a matter of fact, I have a free training where I'm talking about that. That's inside of the Facebook group as well. But just to go over some of those, one, it's cheaper, right? I don't have to pay you any benefits. I don't have to pay for health insurance. I don't have to pay for retirement, match retirement, all of those things like that. So it's cheaper for organizations. Another reason why organizations are turning to external consultants, public health consultants, healthcare consultants, what have you, is because they don't have to train you, right? When you are a consultant, you have niche down and you have a skill set and expertise in a certain area that an organization will say, hey, you know what? We need someone that does evaluation. We need someone that does data analytics. We need someone that does workforce development, right? And so they don't have to spend the time onboarding you. They don't have to spend the time training you. They don't have to spend that, depending on the position. There's anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Even in my business, when I bring on a new contractor, it can take me up to 6 months before I really feel like that contractor is comfortable enough to work without me, just kind of checking in with them day to day or on a weekly basis to make sure that they understand. So those are just some of the reasons, but just Google it. I mean, there is, matter of fact, I had it up here. Let me look on my screen. So companies are choosing freelancers over full-time employees. Just Google it. A lot of these are articles that I have in one of these presentations come from Forbes. They come from human resource management magazines. Google quiet quitting. I quietly quit a job and didn't even know that there was a term for it. And chances are, if you're watching me, you've quietly quit as well. That means you go to work, you hate it there, you hate everybody there, you're quiet, You don't say much in meetings. You don't offer up any ideas or innovation. You don't volunteer to lead any task. You just go, do your 8 hours, do what you're going to do, and go home. You don't put in any extra effort. You don't go over, over and above like you would for a position that you would love. And it's called quiet quitting. Another trend that you will see is the remote worker. And so that's another reason why it's really an ideal opportune time for you to be a consultant, is because now more and more organizations are allowing their employers to work remotely. So guess what? As an external consultant, you will be allowed to work remotely as well. So when I say the freelance revolution is here, and this time it will be televised, it is not going anywhere. It is not going anywhere. 99.9% of businesses are small business, and 90% of small businesses are hiring consultants. Now, there are pros and cons, and I won't get into that tonight. As a matter of fact, I had a retainer contract with an organization for about 6 months, and everything that I recommended to them was contradictory to what 5 other external consultants that they were working with had to say as well, right? A lot of organizations are hiring many consultants to work several different projects or several different areas, and that in itself can make you want to pull out your hair, right? But I'm not going to get into that. I just wanted you to understand that when it comes to the consulting landscape in general, it is not going anywhere. There is going to be opportunity there for you. There is going to be opportunity there for me. I always say there is money out there in these public health streets, and there is enough for everybody. Okay. All right. So I talked a little bit about some of the opportunities, a little bit about challenges, but I don't want to get into it too much because I want my voice to make it. I want to get into the business mindset that you need. And I know if you're watching, you've struggled probably with imposter syndrome. You've struggled with things like perfectionism. I always say, I am a reformed perfectionist. Thank God I left that alone. That was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because if I was still a perfectionist, I would not have even accomplished 10% of what I've accomplished to date, right? So if you are struggling with that, please try to get over that. Those types of things, they keep you stagnant. They keep you second guessing. Let me tell you what else keeps you second guessing: comparing yourself to other. Actually, I was talking to someone about this a few hours ago, and I said, you know what? I'm at the point right now where I just need to stop following people. I need to stop listening to these gurus. You know them. They have social media accounts that look amazing, but they really don't have the business or the contracts or the clients, but they're really, really good at social media. And what happens is when we're following them, when we're not keeping our eyes on our own paper, so to speak, then we start comparing ourselves. Why am I not doing what she's doing? Why am I not as successful as him? Well, why does my social media, or why come I'm not doing these webinars? Keep your eyes on your own papers, because comparison is the thief of joy. You will do what you were put on this earth to do, and you will do it well, and nobody else will do it as good as you, because nobody else was meant to do that. So, okay, let me get back on it. I'm going on a tangent. Let me look at my notes here. I want to talk about some types of mindsets that I think that I have seen people struggle with. And again, I'm specifically talking about public health consulting. This is really any type of consulting, but because I work with public health consultants, this is what I see the most. Excuse me. So, types of mindsets you need to build if you're thinking about doing this type of work. One, you need to have a growth mindset. Okay. You need to have a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. And what I mean by that, a growth mindset means your abilities and your intelligence you own. You know what you know, right? And what you don't know, you do not let that hold you back, because you know, because you have those abilities, you have that intelligence, that you can further develop and fine tune those skill sets. And so you look at things as challenges. You look at things that happen to you as opportunities. You don't look at them as detrimental. And that's what somebody with a fixed mindset will do. A person with a fixed mindset says, I can't get any smarter. I can't get any richer. I can't get any smaller. And if you're skinny, I can't get any fatter. But a person with a growth mindset is going to look at every opportunity to really use that as let me put this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me put my watch on silent there. To really understand that they can do anything with hard work and dedication. I will always tell you, I am not the smartest person in the room. I will hire people that are smarter than me because I know when I was in the public health department and I was working in management that we got things done better if I hire people that were smarter than me or that they had different expertise in a different area other than I was. I will always be the first person to tell you that I don't know something, right? I will never, well, I shouldn't say I will never fake it till I make it because I've certainly faked it till I've made it before. But I will always own what I don't know and I will always own what I do know because I have a growth mindset. I will always say about 98% of everything that I know in business has been self taught. I am Google Queen. I have a PhD from Google University, right? I always say I have a PhD from Google University and I have another degree from YouTube Community College, right? And that is a person that has a growth mindset. So that's one mindset that you want to have. Another mindset that you want to have is the abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset. Ooh, I could talk about this one. I am guilty. I had a scarcity mindset for a very long time. Now, I didn't talk about my business starting here. I'm the CEO and founder of a public health workforce development consulting and training agency. It's Umemba Health. You can visit my website, umembahealth.com. We just celebrated 4 years in business in December. Our mission is to transform public health through comprehensive workforce development. And I absolutely love everything that I do and how we serve our clients and partners on a daily basis. I remember when I first started, I didn't even want to share. I didn't want to do certain webinars because I thought someone would steal the information. I didn't want to go to certain meetings. I didn't want to talk about certain projects. I kept everything under wraps because I was so scared that someone was going to take what took me hours to research and put together those curriculums and those training workshops and all of those things. And then last year, or maybe about 18 months ago, we put together a full curriculum, 25 modules, 160 hours, community health worker curriculum. And I started licensing it to organizations. And it was really slow in the beginning. Nobody was really interested. I wasn't getting a lot of interest in it. And something said, Quisha, give away a module. Just give away one of your modules so that people know what it is and what it's composed of and how good it is. Because it really is a turnkey kind of white glove solution, right? It's everything. It's PowerPoints, it's speaker's notes, it's handouts, it's everything but evaluations. And I set that up as a lead magnet on my website. I allowed individuals and organizations to download it, and I started licensing the curriculum like that. 15K, 20K, 10K, because there's 3 different packages based on the price, based on the package that you get, there's 3 different prices. But had I never shared that curriculum, I never would have been able, probably, or it would have taken me longer to get in organizations interested in licensing that curriculum. Even today, we did a free webinar for one of our signature trainings. And I took that same mindset. I said, you know what? If I hold on to this and just advertise how great this is, no one will get it. No one will understand. So I did a free training and said, come and experience our influential communication workshop. And we had rave reviews and testimonials that I can now use and go to organizations and say, when we did this workshop, this is what people had to say. This is how it changed people's lives. And so that's why it's important. Excuse me, let me get some water. That's why it's important when you're in business that you have this abundance mindset and not this scarcity mindset, because it goes back to what I said earlier. What is for you is going to be for you. Don't worry about somebody trying to steal your idea. Don't worry about somebody trying to mimic you, right? I know they say, what is the saying? What is it? Something is the highest form of flattery, or when somebody copies you or something like that. It's not. The highest form of flattery for me is you spend money with me or you refer somebody to me for services. That's the highest form of flattery to me. But when you have an abundance mindset, you believe that there is plenty out there for everybody. I'm going to tell you, not every coach is going to tell you that. Not every consultant is going to tell you that. In my group, I share RFPs freely. I share RFPs or grant opportunities, or I think yesterday, or it might have been this morning, I put a speaking announcement in there because I know that if it is for me, my business is going to get it. It's going to come to me. So I'm not worried about anybody being, I'm not trying to be competitive. I want to come from a spirit of collaboration. All right, so that's abundance. Okay, so abundance is for you. There's enough for everybody. You're confident that. Scarcity mindset is somebody gonna take my ideas. There's limited resources. There's only so much money out here. I want to make sure that I get it. And let me also say this: there are lots of public health consultants. Even though I'm pretty vocal as a public health consultant, there's a lot of us, right? There's a lot of us. I've probably met with about 50 of us in the last month on this book collaboration project that I'm doing. There's a lot of us. Not every public health consultant is going to be vocal about opportunities the way that I am vocal about opportunities. It doesn't mean that they have a scarcity mindset or that they're scared. Sometimes that's just not people's personality, right? But there are some that do not want you to jump on those opportunities because they're scared that the more people that have their hands in the pot, the more people that are going after an RFP, that's going to be less of an opportunity for them. Again, I go back to that abundance mindset. What is for me is for me. What is mine is mine. And I'm not worried about if somebody else is going to get it, because I feel like if it's mine, it's going to come to me anyway, naturally. Okay, so let's see. I don't see any comments or questions on here. Great. I'll just keep powering through. All right. So another mindset that you have to employ as a consultant, especially a public health consultant, is you have to develop a CEO mindset or an entrepreneurial mindset. And so for many of us that have worked in health departments, we've worked in maybe federal government or on the state level, we have that employee mindset. It's been done this way. We're going to keep doing it this way. This is the policy. We have to go through the chain of command. We have lost the ability to think for ourselves, right? Because we've worked for these organizations for so long. And when you work as an employee, you feel like, well, if I work really hard and I achieve something, well, then I congratulate myself, or I can celebrate that success, right? You got to put those long hours in. You got to put the years in before you can get a raise or before you can get a promotion. That's how an employee thinks. And a lot of times, once you start, I know I did, you bring those same type of thoughts into the space as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, it's completely different. It is not necessarily, there's a chain of command or there's some policies to follow, which hopefully you do have SOPs in your business. Because I always say I have a small business, but I run it like a big organization. But you should be nimble with your thought process. You should be able to take risk and seize those business opportunities, right? You don't have to go through 17 levels and layers of approval to get things done. You don't have to work 12 hours in a day just to be able to say, oh, I did good today. I can pat myself on the back, right? There are some days where I will work 4 hours and I have done so much in those 4 hours, whether it's lead generation, pitching my services, working on client deliverables, meeting with my team, whatever it is, that I'm like, cool, I did a whole day's worth of work in 4 hours. I can really just take the day off, right? And so being able to develop that mindset as opposed to that slave driver mentality where it's, I have to be in this desk from 8 to 5. I have to be here while I'm eating my lunch, right? That's not going to serve you well. Not to say that some of those habits that you have developed as an employee won't serve you well. They will. It was the work habit that I had, the drive that I had as an employee that helped me as an entrepreneur. But a lot of times the gut instinct, the natural reaction, let me just make this decision in a split second has to take over. And that is so unnatural and against everything we know as someone that has worked in a public health department. Hopefully that makes sense to you. All right. So, excuse me, let me get one more sip of water. All right. So there are other mindsets as well. Actually, I have a document because I have a course on this, but I'm only going to go over a couple of them that I think that you need to definitely develop And that is an innovative mindset. And there's no as opposed to anything. You just have to have an innovative mindset. You got to start looking at you got to start thinking about new ideas and approaches and answers, basically solutions to things. I remember when I knew I was getting ready to transition out of full-time employment, I started looking at every issue as, okay, what can I do as a consultant to come up with something to fix this? And so that's one of the things that I teach. I think it's in one of my trainings that's in the Facebook group as well, is start looking at everything that's happening in your place of employment. Now, if I was an external consultant, what idea would I propose coming in? How would I make this better? How could we be more productive? How could I save, help the organization save money? You have to be able to do that. You have to be able to embrace those challenges as well. Challenge the status quo. Again, if you've worked in government from some time, you know what I mean with the status quo. This is how we've been doing it. It ain't gonna change. Challenge that. Why is that the way that we've been doing it? Why come we can't do it any different? Propose some new ideas and be able to think outside of the box. You also need to develop a resilient mindset. Honey, entrepreneurship, and I say honey across the board. So if you're watching in your mail and you're like, what did she just say? I say honey for everybody. I'm just saying entrepreneurship is not a joke. It is not a joke. I just wrote this in one of my blog posts. So I have a blog on the website. Check it out because I'm starting to write again. The highs are high and the lows are low. I mean, it's good, bad, and ugly, and I love it all. Everybody doesn't love it all. I love the business aspect of it, and that's what people struggle with the most. But you have to develop some resiliency. It's going to be times when you're balling out of control. Last year, I made a $70,000 month. My goal this year is a $100K month. I made a $70,000 month. The next month, I made nothing. That's entrepreneurship. You have to be able to ride the waves and ride the curves and to be able to come back from setbacks and failures. And, you may spend 10, 12 hours writing the RFP and it's yours because you met every single objective, every single deliverable, and you get the notice of non-award that says, thank you so much, but we selected somebody else. And so many words, right? You've got to be able to bounce back from that and say, well, it wasn't for me. Let me tell you, it hurts in the beginning. It's gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching. I just got a notice of non-award, I want to say Monday, for an RFP that I did, that I said I was not going to do, but now it doesn't really take me much time to do them because I do them so often. But you've got to be able to see those temporary challenges as just temporary, as something that's going to build you up so that you can get to where you need to be, which is where I am now. And I'm trying to make sure that you understand these are some of the skill sets that you need and some of the mindsets that you need to develop. Let's see, a learning mindset. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, y'all. A learning mindset. You have to have a hunger for learning and for knowledge. I keep saying I'm not going to get another course. I'm not going to get in another course. I did a certification in the fall. I'm in an AI consultant certification right now. And I love every moment of it. I love taking the courses. We had our first meeting I'm probably never going to stop learning because everything that I learn, I implement in my business. We do workforce development and training. I have to stay innovative. I have to stay above the curve. And so you have to desire a mindset to learn continuously, not only in your craft, but what's going on in the industry. And let me tell you what's a challenge. This is a challenge, and this is what someone asked me. I went to an HR conference last year, and it was such a great question. The question was, because I remember they asked us all to kind of stand up depending on what you do. And so they said, well, do you work for a health department, or if you're an external consultant, stand up. And I was the only person that stood up as an external consultant in this particular breakout room. And someone came and said, well, how do you stay abreast on what's going on in health departments and in just public health in general when you don't work for an organization anymore? That was such a freaking great question. And I didn't really think about it. We have students because we have a virtual campus and we provide continuing education and CHW certification and training. So we stay abreast on what's going on there by listening to our students. We have our partners, we have our clients, of course, and some of them are health departments. And so I was able to articulate how we stay abreast, right? I've got Google alerts that are set up in my phone. I'm constantly reading. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm going to a lot of meetings. I serve on advisory boards. There's all kinds of ways you can stay plugged in and connected, but you have to be intentional about it. You have, because it is very easy to get in a slump. It's very easy to get cushy with a couple of clients and stop going to conferences and stop going to meetings and stop networking and completely fall out of the loop of what's going on in the realm of public health. And if you want to be a consultant worth your salt, you cannot do that. You have to continue to have a hunger for learning and that learning mindset. All right, so I'll give you one more mindset, and that is outcome mindset. Or outcomes mindset. You have to be focused on achieving results. Everything that you do has to have some type of result to it. So you have to have goals. You have to have a measure, some type of metric to measure those goals, because everything that you do as a consultant is tied to a deliverable, is tied to an outcome. And so you need to go ahead and start thinking about that even before you go, transition into that direction. All right, so those are the mindsets. I want to make sure, I was just making sure I didn't have a question here. Let me kind of recap those because I'm going longer than I wanted to, and I still want to share a few things with you. So we talked about mindsets that you need. You need a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed. You need an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset. And you need an entrepreneurial or CEO mindset as opposed to a service or employee mindset. I also talked about the other types of mindsets. I talked about innovative, a resilient mindset, a learning mindset, and an outcomes mindset. Okay. Now, if we were in a live session, because that is what I'm used to doing, either live or virtual trainings, we would have this really fun interactive session where I would teach you how to think like a CEO with scenarios and activities, but we're not doing that since I am doing a live stream. So I'm just going to kind of recap on some practical advice to help you shift your perspective. And I think I talked about this a little bit more, but because I always tend to go off of my notes or stray away from my notes, I just want to make sure that I mention the things that I did have here for you. So stay learning, stay up on the latest trends in development. Let me actually give you a hack that I do. I am so, for those of you that have been following me, or if you've not been following me for a while, I'm really big on public health entrepreneurship. I am really big on making impacted income. If you're looking for a coach that will give you permission to make impacted income, then look no further. As a matter of fact, I have on my sweater, purpose driven, profit focus is my mantra. And now I've lost track of what I was going to say. One of the hacks that I use to stay in the loop on what's going on with trends and development is to set up a Google alert. And so because I am writing a book titled Public Health Entrepreneurship, Navigating the Intersection of Purpose and Profit, I've got a Google alert that is set up on my phone. So where I get an email anytime there's been something that's been published on public health entrepreneurs or public health entrepreneurship. And so it keeps me abreast of the trends, not just in the US, but globally, the academic institutions that are opening up social entrepreneur or public health entrepreneur programs, what is going on with social entrepreneurs that are getting funding in certain to fund certain initiatives, all of those things. So if you want to stay abreast of a certain trend or development in public health or in business, set you up a Google alert and those things will just come to you. Learn from other successful entrepreneurs. Excuse me. Oh, COVID is no joke. Learn from other successful entrepreneurs. I don't care if it's free or paid mentorship. I don't care if you're networking. Oh, by the way, you got to come to my networking event, Ready, Set, Network. I'll have to put the link below the comment section. But just learn from others. Learn not only from their mistakes and their lessons learned, but see what they're doing that works, right? But you have to use some discernment. Again, there are a lot of people out here that have really nice social media, okay? I have met with people that have, how can I say this nicely? I have consulted with individuals that I would have thought they were $1 million full-time entrepreneurs, and we get in a one-on-one and they say, "Oh, I really don't have clients right now. It's just too much for me to handle." I talked to somebody a year ago. I really don't have clients right now. It's just too much for me to handle. But you just did a live 20 minutes ago before this call advising somebody on how to do X, Y. There are a lot of people out there that are like that. And not to say that they don't have good information, they haven't learned, but you just have to use some discernment on who is real and who is not. Okay. I'm going to leave that at that. I'll pick that up in another day in the Facebook group. I already talked about resilience. I did talk about self-care. Let me talk about that a little bit. I did a video, a YouTube video, and I did a video inside of the group talking about this. I am personally guilty of this. I am a person that loves to work. I always have. I love to work. I use it not only as a coping mechanism, I use it as a form of distraction when I'm stressed from things that are going on in life or in the world in general. And so for me, it is very therapeutic, but it also is very damaging. It's damaging to my body. It's damaging because a lot of times I won't get up from this desk, or maybe I'll raise the desk up and stand, but I won't go out and walk my dog. I won't go to the gym. Sometimes I eat right here. And so you want to make sure that while you're building your business, especially if you're side hustling, because you are going to work weekends and nights. It's just what it is. You're going to work weekends and nights. I worked weekends and nights until last January when I hired my first full-time employee. And it took me 3 years to get to that point. If anybody tells you that you don't have to work, put in long hours and all of that stuff when you first get started, it is a lie. It is a lie. Now, everybody's goals and everybody's definition of success is different. But if you're trying to build a multi-six-figure public health consulting business like I have done, you are going to put in long hours. But what I encourage you to do is prioritize your personal life, your personal health, your personal self-care, your personal mental health over your business. And that is a struggle. It is a struggle every single day for me. I've done so good in the 17 days that we've been in this year. And I hope to keep it up, but it's taken me a while to get here. It's taken me a while to build a team so that I don't have to do all of the training. So I don't have to do all of the consulting. So I don't have to manage all of the social media, right? But in the beginning, when you are a solopreneur, you will not have that luxury. So just try to practice some self-care, some stress management, some walking away, some time management, all of those things. All right. Let's see what else I've got here. Practice decision making. This is going to help you embrace those mindsets that I talked about. A lot of you have a hard time making a decision. And not only do you have a hard time making a decision, it takes you forever. You don't have that luxury as an entrepreneur. Sometimes there are opportunities and you have to be able to just discern whether it's a good opportunity and an opportunity you should jump on right then and there, whether it's a good investment and an investment you should jump on. A lot of times we do use those FOMO tactics, right? Fear of missing out. We do use those urgency tactics. You'll learn all of that stuff when you start doing marketing as you're supposed to. But the reason that we use it is because it's based in psychology and it works. It doesn't mean it's devilish, right? It doesn't mean that the person is wrong for using it. It's just how we get humans motivated to act. Make sure you're mindful of the opportunities that you are taking up, basically, that you're participating in, because that is going to help you when you become an entrepreneur. Don't think too long on opportunities. There's what is their quote that I've posted once before? Oh, I can't remember who it's from, but the quote says, "If the return on investment is 10 times the investment's a no-brainer." Let me say that again. If the return on your investment is 10 times the investment's a no-brainer. My last 2 business coaches have been $10,000. The $10,000 has garnered me 6 figures every single time. My personal goal is to have a business coach whose group coaching program is $55K, but I know that majority of the people in his program, they get their return in 45, 60 days. It's a no-brainer for me. So you've got to be, get really good at making decisions. And I'm not just talking about financially. Those are just the ideas and thoughts that came to my head. It's decisions on partners, to work with as well, right? You don't partner with everybody. It's decisions on who you're going to serve. You don't serve everybody. Everybody is not your client. Everybody is not your project. And so you have to practice making those decisions, getting comfortable with the information that you know, and jumping on those opportunities when you can. All right, this is getting long. Let me stop. Last but not least, I alluded to it earlier. Give yourself permission to make money doing this. Okay? Give yourself permission to make money doing what you love to do, serving who you love to serve. I'm not saying you're going to scam anybody. I'm not saying you're going to make $1 million. I'm not saying any of that, but it's okay. I talked to a consultant last week about an opportunity to be a co-author in my public health entrepreneurship book. And she thought about it after some days and said, I really don't want to be in a book that has the word profit. I don't want my clients to think that the only reason I do this work is to make money. And I said, that's completely fine. I completely understand if that's how you feel and that's where your mindset is. Thank you so much for considering. But after thinking about that, I was really actually sad about that type of thought process, because no other profession gets that type of treatment. No other profession outside of helping professionals, nurses, social workers, community health workers, medical assistants, public health professionals. Why are people, ourselves included, why are we expected to do so much for free and not asked to be compensated for what we deserve, not asked to be compensated for our years of education and expertise and lived experiences? Right? Nobody becomes an entrepreneur so they can still live paycheck to paycheck. I didn't. I became an entrepreneur because I knew, one, I wanted to sign my own damn paychecks. That's one. Two, I wanted to have freedom and flexibility. And three, I wanted to make money, but I wanted to make money on my terms. So I am the coach that gives you permission. Make that money, okay? Do a good job, serve your people. Impact is always going to come first. Make impact and then income. Purpose is always going to come first. Be purpose driven, but profit focused. So I'm going to leave you with that. That is the last thing that I want you to adopt. You are worth it. You are worth it. In the beginning, you're going to undercharge. We all do. I severely undercharge. As you get more comfortable, as you get more experience, as you get more clients, and become a consultant in your own right, and just really feel confident with what you bring to the table, you will start charging your worth more and more. But it all starts here first. It all starts in your mindset. All right, y'all gonna get me into preaching, and I wasn't planning on preaching. All right, let me summarize this and kind of wrap it up. So we talked about kind of the landscape of consulting and public health consulting. We talked about how you can build a business mindset. We talked about the types of mindsets. Excuse me. And then I shared with you some ways that you can shift your perspective to cultivate and embrace a business mindset, which is what you are going to need if you're going to build a multi-six-figure public health consulting agency. And let me just say this too. I did that in 2.5 years, 2 years really, because the first 2 years of my business, I really didn't make any money, right? So COVID came, and we know there was a lot of COVID dollars out there. And I put a lot of things in motion, these 6 things that I'm talking to you all about over the next 6 series that enabled me to get to that point. All right, so I have a resource for you. If you're in my group, I'm going to share it as soon as this video is over. If you're not in my group, join my Facebook group. It's called PublicHealthPreneurs, Make Impact and Income. I'm going to put 31 affirmations for public health consultants in there. If you don't know what an affirmation statement is, it is an I am statement. It's something that you say to yourself on a daily basis or as often as you can remember, so that you start believing what you are speaking and you can start manifesting those things. You can't see it. I have an affirmation card that is above my printer over in the corner that I did for probably all of 2022. And it goes something like, people pay me. You know what? I'm not going to get it. I will get up and get it. But it's, oh man, you can tell I'm tired. I said at 8 o'clock, my brain goes there. I tell you what, I'll put it in the group. I will put my personal affirmation in the group. And then I will also put the 31 affirmations for public health consultants. Now, I do have some other things as well. I have a mindset, self-assessment. I have some books that you could read as well. I'm not going to share those things because they do come apart of a course that I'll give you an opportunity to participate in. But I do want you to start reading things that will help you with your mindset, following people that will help you with your mindset, reciting these affirmations that will help you with your mindset as well. And last but not least, before we wrap up, let me just share with you some announcements. Again, I have a webinar February the 7th, Possibilities in Public Health Consulting. Everything you want to know about getting into public health, the role of a public health consultant, the opportunities that are available, the the earning potential. That's what most people want to know, how much you can make, right? So I'm very candid in sharing how much I make and the different kinds of contracts that I make. I'm going to talk about the different revenue generating ways that I make money, right? So it's not just all contracts, right? I have courses, of course, I do coaching. There's products that I sell. There's all kinds of ways that you can make money with your public health expertise that you may or may not be familiar with. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of those resources as well. That's on February the 7th. Part 2 of this session, how to build a multi-six-figure public health consulting business, is going to be in 2 days. We're going to talk about positioning yourself, how to market your expertise. Again, if you've not downloaded the Public Health Consultant Starter Kit, go to QuishaUmemba.com to do that. While you're there, if you want to book a discovery session with me, go ahead and click the button and put some time on my calendar. I'd love to talk to you and help you figure out how to start, grow, or scale your public health consulting business. And then 2 more things. Public Healthpreneur Academy is about 6 weeks out from launch. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be taking a few people in early so that they can kind of test some things for me. But I am really, really excited about that. That's going to be all things public health consulting. It is going to be a membership. You'll have access to me. You'll have access to guest coaches. It is going to be phenomenal. And I promise you, there is nothing that is like it in the public health space at all. And last but not least, if you're not following me on all social media channels, please follow me, Quisha Umemba. You can also type in at Public Healthpreneur. You'll probably find me there as well. I hope you all found this helpful. Thank you for sticking out with me the entire time and for your patience with my voice. I'm going to go ahead and end our session for tonight, but this has been fun. I hope you got a lot of value out of it, and hope to see you in 2 nights when we talk about positioning that you need to build a multi-six-figure public health consulting business. Bye-bye for now. Take care.